views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of Bronxnet or the program underwriters.
My name is Dr. Denise, and
I'm producer at Bronxnet and the producer of the LOTF variety show.
And you see how young she is? This is a program actually produced by young people and for the young people. And what are we celebrating this month?
We're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and we have a few guests. The youth hosts are doing a few special segments. And so the shows this week is going to be really, really entertaining.
Very, very good. We're going to have Kenya Nunez, and we're also going to have Johnny Guillon, who's actually cooking for us.
What I'm trying to replicate here is a small little tour of what Latin America is all about when it comes to food and flavors. And I hope everybody likes it.
And why do you think it's so important to teach this to our children, to our youth, especially here? I think that is important.
I actually have a little hashtag I got going on my social media. It's hashtag food is culture. I believe that food is very inspiring. Food also brings anyone in the world together, and you know it opens up a good conversation, whether it be religion, government, whatever's going on in all sorts of life and aspects. Food brings everybody together. So
I agree.
I firmly believe that it represents culture to the fullest.
Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day and welcome to a new Loft program. How are you, Lisha?
Hi Zohoris, I am very good and I am excited because we are going to celebrate the Hispanic Heritage Month. So Zohoris, tell us something you like about your country.
Well, I was born in the Dominican Republic and I grew up surrounded by my family and everybody was friendly and nice and I loved the food. How about you, Lisha?
Well, I'm from Peru. I love the food and I like the dances, and I'm actually part of one of the Peruvian dance group in New Rochelle. So now we're going to go see what Fatima has to say about the news.
Don't forget to wear your mask. Thank you, Lisha and Zohoris. To start us off, we have some COVID-19 updates here in the Bronx. Since blended learning began on October 1st, there have been many reports of a rise in cases, and many fear that a second wave might be hitting us if we don't take proper precautions. As Lisha and Zohoris mentioned, this is our Hispanic Heritage Month special, and today we are highlighting a young influencer, Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, who many of you know as Bad Bunny. He recently collabed with Crocs and made his own customized clogs, and they sold out within a matter of minutes. Teens are going crazy waiting for a restock to purchase their Bad Bunny Crocs. Moving on to politics, let's not forget the presidential election on November 3rd. Please don't forget to vote. The youth vote matters. That'll be all for today's Loft News.
Hola, mi nombre es Adriel Quiñones y yo soy mexicano. Yo me gusta celebrar la Virgen de Guadalupe porque caminamos con ella hasta la misa y hacemos una misa bien bonita. Y también luego comemos platillos de México y también esto es muy importante para mí porque porque la Virgen de Guadalupe es todo de México. Adiós. Bye.
Hi, my name is Erica and my nationality is El Salvador,
And the culture that I like from there is the traditions that they have and the food. Also, the tourist places that you could visit. There's a lot of places you could visit in El Salvador that are really fun and amazing and interesting. Also, there is a variety of the food you could taste, and the traditions that they do then are mostly been doing now too, so that's nice.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Quinones and I am Mexican and Puerto Rican. One important thing about my culture is my religion. This is important because it brings me closer to God, and also I believe in the Virgin of Guadalupe, which her feast day is on December 12th. My family goes to the church and they celebrate a mass especially for her, and also the mariachi sing to her, and there's a lot of different foods like tamales, champurrado, and many others. Thank you. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Saudis Gonzalez. I am Dominican, born and raised. What I like about my country is how everybody comes together at the end of the day, talks about everything, and how close together all the communities are. I like the food and the dancing, like merengue, bachata, and all the others that I can imagine. Bye, have a great day. From yours truly, Saudis. And for our first special guest, we have
Author
Kenya Nunez.
Hello, my name is Ayera, and my question is, how long did it take you to publish your book?
That's a great question. So I actually have two books. My first book was written by accident. I basically wrote on Facebook for about 5 months about something that was happening in my life, and then people just asked, can you put this in one book? And I did, and that was my first book. And the second book, and I'll tell you a little bit about what inspired that first book after we get through some more questions. And then the second book, what I realized is that it was 4 years of writing. But again, I didn't even realize I was going to write the second book. It was just all my writing, my teachings, my lessons. I put them all into one book. So honestly, it took me 1 day to write, but 4 years of content. Does that make sense? It was me just writing, like to myself. You know how you guys may journal and you write notes to yourself? I put them all together, and when I compiled them, I literally did it in a day. I got 2 friends together. They sat with me. We organized all my thoughts, and in 1 day I did it, and then it took, of course, several months to edit.
Hi, my name is Heidi Soriano, and my first question is, how did you know you wanted to be an author?
So another great question. I did not know I wanted to be an author. I never considered myself someone who would write. I just shared on Facebook. That was what I did. And a little bit about what inspired me to write at the time. It was 2012, and my husband got sick with cancer. And I started sharing about our journey, and then I really immersed myself in writing when he passed away. So he passed away in 2013, and that just inspired me to write. And the more I wrote, I had first, a few dozen people go, "This is great, this is so inspiring, thank you for writing this." Then it turned into hundreds, and before you knew it, I had like thousands of people, whether they were in my inbox or just, commenting on my Facebook posts. And they insisted, "You have to put this in one book." And that was when I realized, okay, I guess I'm an author. I got to do this. And I went for it. And the process of that, I learned a lot of what not to do in becoming an author, or I should say in publishing a book. And those lessons helped me when I published my second book.
Howdy, my name is Akila, and my question is, have you ever scrapped a book or idea?
I've scrapped many ideas, and still today I do. So what I really would, so you want to know how to not get into that funk of giving up on your ideas. So we all have, whether it's writer's block or we feel, again, limiting beliefs, we could get a little about it into later, even like trauma we may have experienced in our childhood, or even in our present life, right? Those things start playing a tape in your mind that maybe you're not worthy, that your work is not important, who cares, all those things. And what I say to that is that you have to be your greatest fan. You have to, right? So how do you do that? It's very important to connect your mind, your body, and your spirit. And that's what I ended up actually teaching after I left my job. I started teaching others, and then I ended up teaching high schoolers, and that's how I met Dr. Nunez. So what's so important is that there's a practice. You can't just say, oh, I'm just going to be inspired every day. It doesn't work like that. You have to fight through it, but you need tools and strategies to get through it. And you need mentors. You need people to cheer you on and support you, just like you have here in Niños de la Caridad, to be able to push you when you can't push yourself. So mentors, I believe, are critical, especially for young people, because there's so much noise distracting you that it's hard to stay focused.
I have another question. How did you transition from careers?
So that was something that wasn't thought through. It just happened. So when remember I told you I started sharing on Facebook, I just started sharing because it was part of my healing. Writing was part of my healing. And the more I wrote, and trust me, not everyone loved my writing. Some people criticized me. And this was after my husband's death. And I had criticism such as, why are you glorifying your husband's death? What are you celebrating? Why are you sharing this? Because I was in a good space. And I shared this in my first book, that in his death, by way of his death, he gave me life. Like, I found a new purpose. And growing up, I had a lot of trauma, a lot of things that happened in my home that affected me. So when I became an adult and got married, I really didn't know how to be a wife. I didn't know how to be, like a present human. I was so focused on my past and worried on my future that I kind of was missing my life. So I made a promise that when he did pass away, that I would start living in the now and not worrying about the future and not looking back at the past. So I started healing and writing and sharing. And then this is exactly what happened. A principal saw my work on Facebook, and he was like, come teach this in my high school. And I was just like, yeah, I don't do that. I don't teach kids, first of all. I barely, mine barely want to listen to me. So he said, no, come. And I went to the school. I started teaching. What I didn't recognize, it wasn't just girls, it was boys. And it wasn't just girls and boys, it was teens that were anywhere between 13 and 19 years old. And on top of that, it was a suspension high school where all these kids were in a specific building because they were suspended for school for up to a year. So anywhere from, a few months to a year. So it was a tough crowd. And through that group, I learned so many lessons. They taught me how to teach them and how to reach their hearts. And in sharing with that, other schools started hiring me, and other people started recognizing my work. And it just happened organically because I was being true to myself. It's not like I was forcing anything. I was just doing what helped me heal. And then I ended up entering a competition for Hofstra University. Have you guys heard of Hofstra? And I entered the competition, and I entered this competition, and people took note of my work. And the executive dean of the school, remember I was a secretary for 20 years, right? The executive dean of the entrepreneurship department noticed me, and she said, you should enter this other contest. And I was like, now I felt like I was getting momentum. People were believing in me. And then a position came up for assistant dean at the university. Remember, I was a secretary for 20 years with limiting beliefs. To be a dean of a university, that's a big deal, right? And I went for it because I had broken through those limiting beliefs. I now started believing that I'm worth it. I started believing in myself and not listening to that tape that made me feel like you're not important, give up, nobody cares. And I went for the position, and I beat out a lot of people for that role. So today my role, my day job, is as assistant dean at a university, but I still work on my passion every single day. Not just when I go teach at a school, but even in the supermarket. If I just strike a conversation with someone, I guarantee you it's going to be something about mind, body, or spirit, because I'm literally walking in my purpose. So that's the core of finding what your purpose is just think about what you love and find a way to make money doing it. And if you don't know how to, find the mentors that can.
Well, thank you for being with us today. We are really grateful and thankful for you being here.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys, this is Luis Javier Pineda Soto. Did you catch the latest in news in sports? Just in case you didn't, I'm here to catch you up in Loft. I am here to cover two of the most popular sports that are heavy with Hispanic influence, both baseball and soccer. I'm here to cover them with you. They are very exciting sports and they are a part of our Hispanic heritage. On October 6th, we saw the Yankees lose to the Rays 5-7. But don't worry, we're still in the playoffs. We also saw the Astros win against the Athletics 5-2. And we saw Mexico win 1-0 versus the Netherlands. In soccer, did you catch the latest game on October 7th? At 7, Red Bulls versus the Inter FC. And the latest October 7th for baseball, being the Astros versus the Athletics and the Rays versus the Yankees. Hope you guys caught those games and more. I'm here to talk to you about also the fact that here in the pandemic, there is a lot you can do at home. There are a lot of sports that are opening up recently, such as baseball. Even though they're a major league, they are also opening them up in certain high schools, certain programs. They are opening up a lot of sports such as tackle football, touch football, soccer, and many others. Even though it's getting cold, you can go into indoor track. There's a lot of clubs and activities that you can do instead of just staying at home. And, there's a lot of stuff that you can still do, still stretch, still exercise, still be active, be an active person. As an athlete and as a non-athlete, you want your body to be as healthy as it can be. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month from all of us here to you. Have a good day.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is Chef Johnny. I want to take the time to say thank you to LOTF, Leaders of the Future, for the invite and coming in here and sharing my story with you guys. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. I'd also like to take the time to thank Dr. Nunez for the invite as well, and to my PR agent, Martinez, for setting this up. So a little bit about myself. I've been cooking for roughly 18 years now. 8 of them were in the Coast Guard, where pretty much Chef Johnny started. Currently, I'm the executive chef over at Skyroom. It's a rooftop located in Manhattan on 40th between 8th and 9th. You guys are all still too young to get in. I'm also a chef and owner of my own catering business. It's called Sarco's Catering Co., where I do anything from private catering, private chef, drop-off catering, food deliveries, you name it, I'm there. And I'm here. I'd like to share my story with you guys. Any of you guys have any questions?
What cultures are like this 5 food that you have right here?
So the 5 cultures represented on each of these dishes would be Latino. We're all Latinos, no matter what part of Latin America we're from. But to answer your question, we're going to start off from the top. This is shrimp ceviche with leche de tigre and coconut milk and plantain chips. This right here represents Peru. With a little bit of twist of my take on what I think I'd like to taste in the dish. This right here takes us to another South American country, Argentina. It's a crostini with a beef steak and chimichurri sauce on top. This right here is a take on a Honduran dish from Central America. It's called enchilada. It's almost like a take on a tostada from Mexico, but our way of eating it. This right here is a variation of all the Caribbean Latin countries, which would be Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. This dish right here is tostones with pulled pork, fried cheese, and pickled red onions. And this right here is my take on al pastor tacos from Mexico.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My question is, who supported you throughout your career?
Throughout my career, my biggest support has always been my family. I'm also a father of 3 kids that keep me pushing for more always. And the man upstairs, I'm a man of faith, and I believe that if you focus on what you got to do, put full faith in what you want to do. I always kind of knew how to cook just because, you know, I'm sure you guys help out in the kitchen a lot. And if you haven't, I highly recommend that you guys do, because a lot of these little things are like life lessons. So with that being said, the crew loved my food. I'd never been trained to cook. I never in a million years thought I would be a chef. And 6 months later, I was off to Coast Guard cooking school, and I haven't looked back since. I mean, I love what I do, which is very important, and whatever it is you guys decide to do in the future, you know, don't think about the money. The money eventually gets better. Like anything else, you got to put in your time and effort. If you're not willing to put your time and effort, and you just think about the big bucks, it's never going to happen. You're going to be switching careers and all that stuff. So, like I said, I haven't looked back ever since, and I love what I do.
The food looks good. Am I able to like try one?
Yes, thank you very much for the compliment. And yes, once we're done with this, everybody's going to get to try a little bit of what I have made here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's the hardest thing that you've had to make, in your opinion?
The hardest thing I'd have to make would be, I got 2 things. One of them was learning how to make a croissant from scratch. You guys realize how easy it is to eat one of those things, right? You got to see the work put into it, and hours to make one croissant. It's literally like you make the dough, put butter, fold, put butter again, fold, roll out, put in the fridge, take back out. And it was actually like one of my practicals when I was in the military in order to advance to my next pay rank, my pay rate. And I literally attempted that 5 times, and out of those 5 times, I think I got maybe like 3 little ones like this, literally, this big. But it was good enough for me to get the sign off, and I was like, I ain't never making croissants in my life again. The other thing that I have problems with, but I'm pretty close to nailing it, is a flour tortilla. So in Honduras, there's a traditional dish called la baleada. It's a flour tortilla with refried beans, crema, and like crumbled cheese on it, and you could stuff it with avocado, eggs, scrambled eggs. So I've attempted that like 7 times in the last few months, actually, and I'm pretty close to finally nailing it on how to do it. Once I nail that, the next process is actually making the tortilla by hand, because usually I just roll it out. But it's just little techniques that, like I said, once you're in this, it's not a job, it's a passion. So once you have the passion, you actually want to learn more, and you want to learn more of the technique as to why they do things this way, why they did it that certain way back then. Because if you guys look at life around you, like technology is really messing everything up, and you guys forget a lot of little steps that got you there to the technology. So to my opinion, if there's any advice I could give you guys, is grasp technology, but remember what it took to get there. And read, do a lot of reading, do a lot of research on your own, because the more knowledge you have, the more power you have.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What is your favorite dish to make?
My favorite dish to make, I would have to say, that's a tough one. I don't know if you could tell, but I like to eat. I like making a good steak, man. Can't go wrong with a steak. And as simple as that may seem, there's actually technique to it, and can't go wrong with a good steak. I love steak.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What was one of your greatest challenges throughout your career?
One of my greatest challenges, when you're in the business of cooking, you're in the business of hospitality. So when you're in the business of hospitality, you're in the business to make people happy. Sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. And sometimes you probably know yourself that you put in so much work, but the client is not going to be happy. So my advice to that would be learn to take criticism, because it's only going to make you better. So I guess that learn to sink it in and just take it and just be like, smile and just be like, okay, cool, I got you. I know what not to do next time, and I know what to do next time. So you always just gotta stay a step ahead of everything. So I think that would be the biggest challenge.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, what was your biggest accomplishments throughout your career?
My biggest accomplishment throughout my career. Would you guys believe me if I told you that I was on TV once? Yes, well, you're right. I was on season 26, episode 8 of Chopped on the Food Network. But I got recognition. I got offered a job by one of the judges on the show. I've made 2 great friends out of the show that to this day we still talk. Even the girl that beat me, I got beat by a girl. But it was a great experience. Through my career, not only have I been on TV, but I've with my PR agent, I've had a lot of media exposure back home in Honduras. Even though I was born and raised here, like I live and breathe Honduras. So my name is worth something out there. I had the privilege of working with a lot of well-known chefs. Can anybody here want to cook? Nobody wants to be a cook? You want to be a cook? It's on your bucket list?
Yeah, it's to be good at it because it's interesting.
What's your background? Mexican? You know, Mexican food is very intricate and amazing. There's a lot of, every region in Mexico just has something different, and they cook with so much soul. Like, I'm actually dying to go to like Puebla.
I am so happy and grateful that you're bringing like the Hispanic side to the United States and putting your own twist to it. Is there anything that you would like to, some advice that you would like to give us for the future?
As far as advice for the future, like I said, stay focused. Don't ever let nobody tell you you can't do nothing, because that's a lie. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it and accomplish it by having faith, believing yourself, and just staying focused. There's always going to be somebody hating on you. There's always going to be somebody saying negative things, or don't do that, don't do this. But at the end of the day, you guys are your own individuals. At the end of the day, when you guys become grown-ups, guess who's paying the bills? You are. Ain't that other guy or person knocking you down doing that for you. So just stay focused on what you want to do. Stay on the path. Don't let nobody derail you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And now you guys could come and enjoy the food.
Thank you for tuning in. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you so much for our guests, and see you next time. Bye.